Hi, everyone. Hold on. Jonathan is working his way in. He's got to restart and reinstall a couple of Gmail, Google um, pieces, and he hopes to be with us, very soon. But in the meantime, I just wanted to welcome all of you. And if there's anything that you wanted to jump in and say, let's go ahead because we've got a few minutes. Carrie, oh, you were just adjusting something. It looked like you were.
I just wanted to say, yay, Johnny.
Oh.
I'm here late, but it sounds like there's change in the air. So
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. What do you all think of that? There are some sounds like there's some pretty big changes happening on Humanities team, and it coincides pretty well with Jonathan's summer vacation plans. So, he was probably going to be taking the month of July off anyways from the circle to give us all a break. And, the good news is that it looks like he's planning on coming back in August and with a renewed plan. It doesn't sound like it's going to be something too different than what we've been doing in the circle, but it will be moving, unfortunately, off of the Humanities team platform.
What do we know about that? What's happening with Humanities team?
Garth, would you like to say anything?
It has been determined that doing these live programs is not cost effective because we're only a small group of 15 or 20 as opposed to 200 or 300. So we have canceled half a dozen or something programs like this that were happening once a week or once a month, and we may and we will be reallocating those resources to the Global Oneness Summit. So that is part of the equation. I think there's a good chance that we'll resume some of the live programs in the fall, but nothing has been decided about that. In the meantime, life will go on.
Yeah, for many of you that have been with Jonathan over the years, you know that he sort of reinvents his circles and discussion groups and mentor groups, and they're always extraordinary. Looking at you, Barbara. Now I'm very conscious of saying that word, but it's true. And I'm assuming Garth, maybe you'll pop in and join Jonathan's new circle if possible, because we'll miss you. But and we're obviously very grateful for the support you've had for us, over this past year.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and I certainly intend to continue my association.
Wonderful. But yeah, for the rest of you, just hang in there and stay tuned. I know Jonathan is putting some thought into what he's going to bring to the next
Iteration.
Thank you. That was the word I wanted. And it'll be great. And I certainly hope, to continue seeing all of you there.
And look who's here.
Yay! Well, we'll see if he actually his face shows up. Looks
Dr. J.
Well, I got something working today.
Hey.
I've never seen this before, but some of my Google accounts just disappeared.
Yeah. Well, I had problems with PayPal and other big names today too. So
Oh, today.
yeah.
Okay, well, then I don't feel quite as bad. Yeah, yeah, very, very curious, but I don't want to spend all my time talking about my technological woes. Thank you for welcoming the group. And have you talked at all about our situation yet?
Little bit.
Yeah.
So, and Garth, did you give any background or do you want me to do that?
You can give your version. I gave a version. Yes.
Well, if you gave a version, that's okay. I think what's worth knowing for especially for our regulars is that Humanity's team has always tried to operate with, I think, an incredible amount of generosity to the consumer. So to keep things very inexpensive and to keep memberships very inexpensive and the challenge with that is that it just makes it hard to staff all the things that they want to do and promote all the things they want to do and do things as well as they want to do them. So I think for now live programming is going away. And it's a hard decision, but ultimately it's to keep things moving well and to keep things accessible for people who are committed to content that's about conscious living and evolution of heart and mind. So it interrupts our flow, but I will use that as a segue unless you want to correct something I said. Garth? No. So I'm going to use it as a segue because I think what's going to happen for me, and hopefully this isn't distasteful to do on Humanity's team time, but in my newsletter, I've suggested, probably I'll just pick up in August and run something similar but different out of my own home base. So I'll provide a Zoom link. And I think it would be something similar to this, but what I've shared with people is we would change the time to be, we're looking at Wednesdays at 3 Pacific time. For people on the East Coast, I've had some mixed feedback. Some people saying, "Oh man, that's like dinner time. Like, don't do that." And I've had other people say, "Oh, that's perfect because I'll just get home from work. I can tune in and then I can have my evening." I do think it makes it hard for dear friends like Carol, who are probably going to be sleeping at that time. And I regret that. I definitely regret that. Unfortunately, the alternative doing something very early in the morning, which is great for people overseas, we just lose a lot of North Americans. So majority rules in this case. And the other thing that I thought I would say about the intention is that maybe it would be run a little with more focus on the experiential piece of it, the prayer. There would always be guided imagery. There would always be prayer. There would always be guided imagery. And there would always be some consciousness around healing for the people attending so that people can either speak or put in the chat, what you want prayers for or what you want people to remember. So a bit of a different emphasis, maybe less talking from me overall, which could be a good thing. And there you go. So that's my nutshell, and we are more or less on time. Will there be a recording? Yeah, I could definitely record those, and I'll have to get the permission from the group, but those could either be published on YouTube privately so that only certain people can get the recordings, if we trust we know you and trust you. And then people, let's say, who maybe we could make them available in the newsletter, for example. And then we won't just have sort of everyone in the world hearing people talk about what their healing needs are and things like that. So that's a good question. I'll make a note, record. Any other just general comments or questions before we chat today? Because I have sort of an open forum in mind, but I wonder if there's anything that we've covered so far.
I would just say going forward, I like what you say when you talk. So
Okay.
don't not talk at all.
Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
How do we contribute financially other than your 2 suggestions?
I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later, but I appreciate you asking. I will have the option to donate, but certainly no one has to have like a ticket or something like that, especially if you're listening, you just showed up today and you're like, what's going on? And who's this guy? And there's a lot of talk about stuff I don't even understand. So thanks for your patience. No, I mean, it does. I will admit, as a person with bills and kids and living hand to mouth every month, it helps when the work, covers some of those bills. It makes it a little easier to prioritize things. So the plan is that I'll have Venmo contributions and Zelle. Now, one thing that I will have to figure out and let people know, I'm pretty sure that Zelle has now evolved to be like PayPal in the sense that you don't even have to know what it is to use it. I think most banks are working with it as an interbank transfer system. So I'll figure that out. We don't necessarily need to worry today. And if you can't do it, it's really fine. I'm not doing it.
I've had troubles with both of those, so I don't mind sending a check, but I don't want to use those guys. That's all.
Okay, fair enough. Unfortunately, I have never had a good experience with PayPal, although maybe I'll have to go back to them. In the end, I suppose anyone whose sole job is just taking our money, turns out we don't like working with them. That's the moral of the story. Any other just comments or questions or suggestions? And then we'll shift.
Where are you going on vacation?
Oh, well, okay. It's personal chat time. So next week I'll be in Spain with my wife and her family. They're already there. And then I'll be back for a week, and then I'll be with my family in Northwestern Ontario.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be maintaining my day job, my leadership development work will kind of fit in around that. Any other?
Where would I find your Venmo, your current Venmo? I'd like to help, buy you a margarita in Spain.
Very nice. I believe it's easy. I'm trying to look it up quickly. I think it's just if you put in at Jonathan, I'm going to figure this out right now. Yeah, at Jonathan-Ellerby. Super easy. I just looked at it right there.
Okay, got it.
Just kind of look up my name, and there's my nice little picture, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's the guy. Anyway, yes.
I
Oh,
just
yeah.
I just wanted to say,
Debbie.
Pastor Louisa, did I hear
No.
you?
Go ahead, Debbie, finish.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I feel very blessed to have been in your presence and your wisdom. And if you think that this is a disconnection of any sort, I think you're sadly mistaken scientifically, spiritually, and heart-wise. I don't think you've seen the end of all of us yet.
Well, so we're going to talk about that a little bit after we finish our chat right now. No, all I'll say is that I believe that all endings are an invitation, an invitation to discernment and refinement and new beginnings. And if there's any doubt in that, I would question the value of living any other way. The simple reality is we can mourn the end of a job, a relationship, something in our health, whatever it may be. And and the grief in the mourning is fair. Now, I'm not talking about grieving this, but I'm now broadening the message. Of course, that loss is real, but it's a threshold. And what we know from the spiritual journey and the human mind and the human heart is that thresholds call our attention, and there's a chance to refine. So I have a feeling that what's going to come out of this in August will be fabulous. The only thing I have to say, and we're still in just sort of chatting about, I'm going to miss Garth a lot. Garth, you're a special part of my week. I know I don't get to spend a lot of time with you. I show up like a minute before we start, but sometimes we have more time and we visit. And I think you've probably all got the feeling Garth is a very special man, and he's not just operating videos. He brings a lot with his heart and his consciousness. So I don't know, Garth, we just have to you have to be like a guest on the show or something.
Well, it's certainly my intention to hang in and extend our association.
Very good. Very good. All right, Kawika.
Jonathan, I just wanted to quickly say to everyone in this small group that, if you can find a way of reinventing the wheel to say, I just want to say like how important it is in my life to, have these intimate discussions. The online platform of spiritual communities are really commercialized, and you find yourself with great teachers like yourself, but it's very interpersonal. Like, there's 100 people on the Zoom, and and it serves its purpose, but personally, I need intimacy among a group of people on the journey. And my commitment to you is if you find the bandwidth and capacity to offer this, because really it's kind of selfish. There's just a handful of us, consistently, and your teachings really deserve to have a broader base, but then we lose that intimacy. And so I make a promise to you to to validate you and support you in whatever way I can, and then also give you the space to live your life and to not have this be like a drag, where every week you're committed, and we kind of had like a nice flow state where you could step out and do retreats, and we'd be okay because there's other great people in this community that can hold space. So I just wanted to say that as a broad statement.
Wow, that's beautiful. I appreciate that. Well, and I want to echo back by just expressing my gratitude because, it's not ironic that we don't have a large group today. We have, pretty much all or nearly all familiar faces or regular faces, I should say, but all familiar faces. And I think you've been a wonderful community to each other. Everyone's always very patient and supportive and open-minded and curious and encouraging. And Joni has stepped up and stepped in, done some amazing things. And that's not easy to do when there's a regular routine. I think, Joni, you did it so well. And it is also true that I think that our little gang was receptive and encouraging, and that's it goes always. So what I'll keep in mind for sure is if for some reason this kind of and I don't anticipate that, but if this just for some reason explodes into 100 people, we'll find a way to get our more intimate group and do something different. I think that would be really cool. And the truth is I prefer it. It's just that everyone out there in online media, they are growing or scaling is the word. Because that's how they make a living. Now Lanny asked if we could meet 2 times a month. My suggestion would be come 2 times a month. No hard feelings. I think because it's not a series that builds on each other, the concern I have is if I reduce it to 2, but then I have some commitment and I miss one, and sometimes it just becomes like a whole month before we have another one. But I certainly appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes less is more, and sometimes shorter is better too. But
I just thought it might make it easier on you to schedule
oh,
around. So I'm fine every week, whatever. So
yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm happy. I would almost rather do it every week with the kind of forgiveness that once in a while I'm traveling or away. Then, yeah, but I appreciate that. All right. Anything else sort of on the theme of just feedback and logistics? All right. No. Okay. So what I thought we could do, have a little prayer and then a reflective time. I don't know that I would call it a guided imagery. And um and hopefully it's going to end, because I don't always know where these things go, but hopefully it's going to end with a bit of a prompt, some things for you to think about and some things for you to share. And then we'll just connect as a group. It'll make sense in a minute. So with that, I'm going to invite you, if you choose, to close your eyes, to get cozy and comfortable wherever you're sitting. I'm also going to encourage you to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, if you choose. And we're going to close our eyes, take a big exaggerated breath in and hold it. Hold it for a little bit this time. Notice what's going on inside you and breathe it out through your mouth, long and slowly. And then we're going to repeat that. Big breath in, hold your breath. And just let your awareness turn inward to your body, your emotional state, the quality of your thoughts, breathing out long and slowly. And let's do that at least 4 times. And then essentially continuing the pattern, but just slowing down the vigor a little bit. Let that breath be really long. And then a soft inhale through the nose. And then a gentle hold. And a long exhale. And just take this moment to notice whatever's calling for more attention in your life right now. Is it something physical, relational, emotional? What's important for you right now? Just reflecting on that. Both in terms of gratitude and in terms of growth. This is really what you're just sensing. What am I really, of all the millions of things I'm grateful for, what am I feeling really grateful for right now? And where am I feeling the need, the longing, the hope for some growth? And that might mean healing or insight or clarity. Gratitude and growth. Now, holding the energy of those things, we turn our focus more prayerfully as we become aware of and invoke the one that is all. You are divine source and substance. God, creator, consciousness, to the essence of life and all that watch over us, beings of light, ancient spirits, guides and guardians, angels, however you feel, sense, know these that help each in our own way. We call now for our little circle to be surrounded, uplifted. And though we may be far apart, and though we may hear this in a different time, we are together as one. And in this, we pray for the path and the peace of each one hearing these words. A blessing of love, the evolution of light in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies. May we feel our connection and honor it as we go forward from today's time. And may we return to each other with wisdom and compassion. Today we ask a special prayer to carry our light into the world. A special prayer to invigorate our gift and more so our courage to share it, each in our own way, with courage and confidence, care and connection. And through this loving service each day, may we also be served, honored, uplifted. May we each have the wisdom to find truth and healing in all things, in our unfolding story and our stuckness, our challenges and our triumphs. May we amplify this way of being in the world so that more and more and more people every second of every day would wake up to the truth of our interconnection, our interdependence, and the power of loving, listening, learning, and letting go. From this place, we extend our prayer today for all those who live in fear from war, poverty, abuse, addiction, whatever may bring the pain and fear. We offer our prayer for healing and the restoration of balance for our planet, all places, beings, creatures, natural elements. Restore the balance. And a prayer for all those that watch over us, for they too need our prayers. Blessings, blessings, and blessings. Amen. So coming out of this, I wanted to invite the group to, for everyone to have an opportunity to share something. And what I'd like to ask, if we could try, is if we can be concise, then everyone can go and we'll still have a little time. Because what I'd like to do with the extra time is just see if there's any topics. You know, we're going to have a break for July. The truth is, ironically, or maybe not, synchronistically, not ironically, I was planning on doing a break in July anyway. I just didn't think it was going to be of this nature, but that's fine. So what I'd love to do is just go through the group, and if everyone could just take a minute, like just a minute, but not more, because there's enough of us that that'll almost fill our time. If we just take a minute, when you think about what one thing that jumps out that you're very grateful for right now in your life, and let's not say each other, unless that's really important to you, but we've already established that. But if there's something more you want to say, whether it's whatever, friend, health, anything, I don't know, whether you found $20 on the street today, which I actually did, but I also figured out who dropped it, so they got it back. I said, oh, I almost went for lunch. So just one thing this is special for you right now that you're grateful for. And then one thing that you're just really working on. And if we can do it succinctly, then we can have a little more time to maybe share a couple of questions or some topics that people want to hear a little more about before we say goodbye for now. So I'm going to go first just to model efficient sharing, which I rarely model. But I will say, I am grateful for plant life today. First thing I did was went out my patio door, and I was just stunned by the summer green. And I'm working on my growth is about authenticity. And even though I know I'm fortunate to be on my path and doing what I love, I know I can do it with more truth. So there you go. Hopefully that was even less than 60 seconds. So who would like to go next? You can just, Carrie, go ahead.
Hello,
Or maybe I'm
everybody.
just going to pick people, and then that way we'll cover it. So Carrie, you're up.
Okay, so I'm grateful for self-compassion.
Mm.
And I got to go last week or 2 weeks ago to Indralaya on Orcas Island and do a therapeutic touch week long, or 5 days long, in the Pacific Northwest, and fresh air out of Sacramento Valley, and have beautiful people nurture me. And if I could only do one iota of what they did for me and to me and with me, I would have really a successful day. So I'm grateful for that opportunity to just reflect on it and try to just be compassionate to myself. So yeah, and thank you, all of you, for holding space. Sorry, I'm a big crybaby.
That's great.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the energy of sharing that
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah. Can't help myself.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I'm going to pick Carol. Carol, a gratitude, a growth focus, or both?
Living on an island like I do, it's quite far behind the times. So we're not allowed to talk about most things. This has been an amazing opportunity. A few weeks ago, I mentioned meridians in a conversation. And as a result of that, 3 people will no longer talk to me. And one person is saying awful things behind my back about me being the devil.
Oh my gosh.
But it makes it easier. We've got this group. Because we're all different, but we're allowed to be different. And this group is very accepting. So my gratitude is for the acceptance.
Well, thank you. And I know it's probably going to end up being like 11 o'clock your time at night when we meet in August. But I'll just say for the record, if you even want to just have your video off and drift off to sleep with our loving attention, you do have community, and we need to speak the truth that we know of our world, and others will be uncomfortable and they'll go away. But you know what? I don't want to be rude, but good luck, good riddance. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to lose people though. And it's hard to
I get
see.
up at 5 a.m., so a late night is quite difficult to do.
Okay.
But if I've got insomnia,
All right.
I
Well,
will
we'll
come
find a
in.
way to get you back in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Loretta, how about for you? A gratitude, a growth, or both? And you unmute to make sure.
I wanted to get gallery view so that, because I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah, we can maybe, Garth, let's just leave it on gallery for the sharing and we'll just see each other's reactions and stuff.
You know, I want to be all spiritual and everything, but the truth of the matter is, the thing I've been thinking about today is I have a relative who passed away and left my family a inheritance. It's not a huge amount of money, but I don't have to worry about getting old.
Oh,
And I am so grateful for that, that my mother's going to be 100. My father's mother lived to 95. I could be here another 30 years. And I want to feel secure in that. And it looks like, you know, if I don't do anything stupid, I'll be okay. And I am really grateful for that. And on the other hand, the thing I want to work on is I've been a widow for 6 years and I'm really sick and tired of being alone. And I would really like to find someone that would resonate with this type of a group. And I'm having a really hard time. So that, you know, it's the good news and the bad news. It's life.
well, thank you for sharing the news. I don't know how other people feel, but it's uplifting for me to hear of that relief. As we are in the material world, as the police and Sting once said, we are spirits in the material world. And yeah, I think for probably most of us getting older, and I include myself, there's no idea, we have no concept of how we're going to make it to the end financially. You know, the days of pensions and welfares and family, you know, systems, they've crumbled. So I think that's exciting and good for you. And probably that'll give you some freedom and energy that will let you be a little more available to attract.
I hope so.
And I don't know whether it's good news or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's like a spiritual singles website out there, you know, could start sniffing around. Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Eve, will you unmute yourself and share a little something you're grateful for today or working on or both?
Yep. I'm grateful that when I walk out my door, I can see the succession of the different flowers that are in bloom at, you know, one dies off and the next one comes in. I just love seeing that outside. I'm very grateful that, like Loretta, I have enough that I can cover myself in my old age. And I find that at this age, 83, which Jonathan, I identify with your mother. I heard you say she was 83. And I find there's so much loss for me at this time of my life. There isn't too much that comes in. Everything seems to go. But I have a couple of phone friends I can be in touch with each day. And I have, although I hate being dependent, the older I get, the more dependent I become. And I have a difficult time with that, but I know that that too is a part of life. So I'm grateful that I'm able to accept it.
Nice. You have grateful for the growth
Yeah.
required. That's beautiful. Thank you. Very well said. How about Deborah? Will you unmute yourself and share a little? A gratitude, a growth, or both?
Well, I'm grateful for this community.
Mm.
I think it's very important to have people to share to share one's spirituality with. And I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my home, surrounded with trees and nature. It's wonderful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. What would we do without our green friends?
Right.
Oh, well, I'm glad you were here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Chantal, how about you? A gratitude.
Well, we won. Well, one thing I'm very grateful for is when I pray or just think about it, I get instant answer to what I need to do. And it comes through intuition, or I would say clairvoyance. I get an image and it just pop up. And then I call the person or I do something and everything is instant. So I'm very grateful that I have this thing going on right now when I need to. And what I'm working on is trying to figure out, can I heal my body? I'm in can I instantly heal my body? So I don't know how to go about it, but I guess someday, maybe today, I'll know. It has its reason, but we'll keep at it and see what happens. So maybe if it's not ill, it's because there's something else I need to learn about the spirit of me. So I'm not too sure. So that's what I'm working on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautifully expressed. Very good. Thank you. And how about Barbara? Unmute and come on.
So I am very grateful for being on the spiritual path and I can look back and see how much I've changed and how incredibly it's impacted my life for the better. And it makes everything better so that I can have gratitude all the time for my flowers or my friends or just any setbacks or challenges that I know are coming up. It's just, I can become grateful for them. And I'm working on specifically on, with some people, how do I hold space so that they feel like they're heard and acknowledged and respected, but I don't take sides. And I get to practice every day. I did a big time today with a meeting, but also at home.
Excellent. That's a lovely goal that I think we can all share. Well, that's good. Thank you. Kawika?
Hi, I'm grateful and kind of inspired in a weird way by a character I came across on YouTube, which usually just, silly entertainment, and her name is the Venice Healer. And her message of spreading love and light as a beacon in the Venice way was, really theatrical, and it was borderline full bat crazy too. And then I just basically say this woman has so much courage. She is uniquely expressing her truth in full confidence, going into homeless shelters and living there to spread the love and light and making tremendous sacrifices. And so my inspiration with the spiritual awakening is to find my own way to serve, as you said in your prayer, and honor that it's a unique process, and I'm far from there, and I'm kind of living in a sick body and energy's low, and it's very confusing, but everything's in momentum. Like, I have no choice but to ride this out, and I'm very excited about it, and to I guess do the deep healing so I can be fit for service. And this group kind of helps to facilitate that.
Very nice. Thank you. And we'll go to Debbie next. Both of you with beautiful backgrounds.
Oh, I put the background on because when I first came to this group, I will admit that you were the first group that I ever socially was able to speak any of my ideas. And I realized that there are so many good people in the world that I'm smiling, and I'm very grateful for that, despite the sadness of kind of a temporary disconnection, that I'm smiling more today than I did when I started, and that I really have broken through. I always felt like a periwinkle in the sand, stuck in my little shelf, and I would just poke up and look around. And I think I mentioned that on one of the things, and make sure everything was all right. And then I go back into my shell again. Well, I'm not going back. I'm not a periwinkle anymore. And I'm starting to put my work out there. And I want to thank all of you for giving me confidence that I'm very grateful for. And so I hope that confidence keeps growing and reaches the love that we have here, extends far beyond us.
Beautiful.
That's what I got to say. Thank you all. Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
There is some sadness though now. I'm getting my sadness back, but you know.
But if you're in the newsletter, you're gonna find us again. That's the only thing you need. Just get in the newsletter and we'll find you. Anyway, thank you. And it's okay to I shouldn't have interrupted your sadness. That is also welcome. Sadness is welcome here. Lanny, how about for you?
Well, I all of a sudden, I'm grateful for lightness of being, which has not been my companion for a while. I've been into heaviosity, but I feel a lightness of being. It feels like there's a shift in my universe. I did mention the white buffalo calf, which I think is a symbol of something good coming our way. I heard from people who have not answered me for like 6 months or whatever. All of a sudden they call or text. It's like I feel an opening in me. I've also been listening to, I don't know if you know Father Gregory Boyle.
Yeah,
he and
he's
Tara
great.
Brach are incredible, and he is such a loving being. He talks about the thorn in people and compassion for the journey each one of us has had with the thorn. And it's such a beautiful place to come from. And what I'm working on is still healing myself in a gentle way. And being gentle with myself instead of like, I gotta, whatever, stop the pain, whatever. But it's just been this week. It like today feels a lightness. I also talked to you probably guys know about psychic, whatever, near Mark Nelson, who's with them in ions. It's just like things are just happening that are like, the other way to say it is lightness of being. It's over 100 degrees right now outside, and the flowers are still blooming. But Edward, my boyfriend's gone through carpal tunnel and really feeling miserable about not being able to do things. And we started joking about it instead of back to heaviosity. So I'm grateful for this shift. So I want to continue my gentle healing.
Lovely. Grateful for the lightness and working on the acceptance and all good stuff. Well, I thought I would save Joni and Garth for the end because they have helped to steward our group. So Joni, I wonder if you'd like to contribute to a gratitude and a growth in your life right now.
Certainly, thank you. This has just been really lovely listening to everyone's thoughts on what they're grateful for and where they are in this moment. Yeah, I'm really content. But the first thought I had on what I'm grateful for were um, possibilities, humility, and willingness. And I instead of expounding on those though, in response to Loretta's bounty, which I think we're all so joyful to hear. Um, I wanted to add, and not to take anything away from what you have, Loretta. Just absolute blessings. Um, but late last night, um, I had a moment where I felt this that I was in this moment of like abject lack, and it wasn't negative. It was just this realization. And once I acknowledged that, and I believe it's because I've put and focused so much energy in the last 2 months on my health and my healing, that I've let other aspects of my spiritual life kind of go into a soft sleep. And
Mm.
as soon as I acknowledge that, like my helping spirit and all that speaks to me, just I was just going to say if they've woken up, but it's me that woke up and opened up and has the lack created this room to receive.
Mm.
And I've lived long enough to have gone through these cycles over and over and over and over again. And so I'm going to add, for, with a special pointedness of Loretta's, um, you know, gift and abundance, that this cycle of abundance and lack is such a rich experience if if we accept it, if we love
Mm.
it. And it's so easy when you feel such abundance to believe, it's the pinnacle of your life and this is where you're going to be. And unless there's something, a disaster, you'll always have that. Instead of just knowing that there's this cycle, and Jonathan has taught me it's this spiral that we keep flowing around and through. And I'm just grateful that I'm I've been reminded of this process.
Mm.
Just it's gifts all around. They never stop. And I'll stop there. But
Yeah, thank you. That's beautiful because it's this emphasis, and I think that's a sort of I want to connect it to a summary of the group purpose, and then we'll still catch Garth before we close. The only type of abundance, maybe I'm going to make a bold statement, that is always available is spiritual abundance. And you remind me and us that when you walk this path, then the human cycles of abundance and lack can come and go. And one can be up and one can be down. And one moment we're up and then we're down, you know? And yet, if we stay on the path, all those things work together to make each other precious, to make each other sources of wisdom and love. And so we cherish whatever moment we're in, because if we're in lack, it's like, all right, let's just get these lessons and let's learn what's next. And if we're in a moment of abundance and like, thank goodness we had a story of that today, then let's also breathe that in deeply and receive it, you know, without guilt or any resistance at all. Because in the end, it all comes and goes. It all comes and goes. So having said that, and before a wrap up, Garth, I wonder if you're there, if you want to say just anything to the group, or if you want to contribute your own word of gratitude and growth, or just give you a moment at the very least.
So many things to be hopeful and thankful for. I definitely look forward to seeing how this group reinvents itself and being a part of that in the future. Tonight, I'm going to sit with 5 Tibetan monks for a healing ceremony at my Unity Church. So that ought to be fun. On Saturday night, a friend of mine who is a world-class flute player named Jan Michael Lookingwolf is going to be at a big annual event here in Salem called World Beat. And they have booze and entertainment and longboat races. And so he's going to be on stage with his band of merry flute players and drummers and whatnot on Saturday night. So anyway.
You know what I love about that conclusion, Garth? Is that so much of our lives, in our spiritual lives as well, become about like a destination, a future state, becoming something. And our masters remind us about the power of being in the moment again and again and again and again. But when you talk about the event, and I think of the music and the dancing and the community and the fun, you know, I'm reminded how that in itself is the substance of a good journey. You know, that we don't, it's like somehow we have to be careful that we aren't always on the road, but that we set up camp and that we cook together and eat together and share stories and songs. That's what makes the journey. Who cares if we get there in the end? Let's enjoy the ride.
Absolutely.
So on that note, I have a poem that I pulled up I wanted to read for each of you. Maybe I need to change it. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it. And I'm gonna pick a classic cliche favorite. But it's a little more closely connected to what you shared than what I was planning to read. And I think it's a poem that's become cliche because it's so beautiful and it's so essential. It's by Mary Oliver. It's called Wild Geese. And I think it just somehow speaks to our group. And I'm sure most of you have heard it. And so here we go. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscape over the prairies and the deep trees, over the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. So thank you, Mary Oliver. Thank you to each and all of you. I look forward to connecting with you through my newsletter, and we will find each other later in the summer. So lots of love and gratitude. Thanks again to Garth, and have a beautiful July.
Thank you, Jonathan and everybody. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You, everyone.
Well done.
Love you.
See you in August.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Go Giants.
Mm.
Bye.